Day three, how to build a standout resume. You may be thinking, I've never had a job, so what do I even put on my resume? And that's a legitimate concern and question, but there are lots of things that you can include, and that will be the key to developing a standout resume. And one of the important things is really tailoring your resume for the type of roles that you're looking for. So it might be that you're looking for hospitality roles. So you might talk about, actually helping out in the kitchen at home. It might be that you are looking at working with children and you can talk about, babysitting you've done just for family or even within your own home. So there's lots of things you can draw upon, but really we want to be looking at what the kind of position and roles need, and that can help kind of guide, the skills to really emphasize. So yeah, co-curricular, music, team sports, leadership positions, volunteering, even things within the home, as I said before. There's lots of things, and it can also motivate you to actually get a little bit more involved if there's different kind of skills and experiences that you'd like to see on your resume. So the basics, it's really important as a part-time casual job. It doesn't need to be a super detailed document. It just needs to be really simple, have the basics information in terms of your details, some skills, the experiences you have, and really why you would be a good fit for that kind of job role. So keep it simple, ideally one page. If you go into two, that's okay, but don't make it really really, really detailed or overwhelming. Ideally, I think for a low experience resume, I think one page should be the goal. Ensuring you're proofreading everything, reading it out aloud is really good. That's often where you can see where, you've made some errors and things just don't really flow. Also getting others to check it over. Obviously do spell check, but remember, spell check doesn't always bring everything up because words can still be spelt correctly, but spelt incorrectly in the context of what you've written. So just make sure, yeah, you get a second pair of eyes, third pair of eyes, because I do it too. Like I'll have a heading that's totally, I've looked at it a million times and I've realized that it's not the right word or, whatever it might be. I do recommend to save as a PDF, and that's what I've always done with my positions, because once you save it as PDF, you can check over it, and that formatting is not going to be compromised at all. It's always going to stay the same. So that's generally what I do. If you have any concerns, you can always check with the person you're sending it to. And just remember, these are just some kind of guidelines and my advice based on my experiences and the research and people I've spoken to. But everyone, there are nuances, and every kind of recruiters are basically people. So people have their own opinions of different things. So when in doubt, you can always kind of ask the recruiter or get some advice as well. So in terms of what to include, obviously your name and contact details. First and last name, I would have your email address, your telephone number, like a mobile. If I don't think you need your actual home address, you could just have like suburb or something like that. I don't think you actually need that detail on there. If it's somewhat, you're somewhere really local and close to, then you could have the suburb, but I don't think you need the home address at this stage. An opening statement that's relevant to the job role, and we'll go through that in a second. List of skills. So the skills that that job is kind of looking for should definitely be there, but I would making sure you're giving some evidence and examples within that. Also some personal attributes, something that makes you you, like maybe you are high energy, maybe you are really personable, maybe you are really hardworking, whatever those kind of things are. But remember, a lot of people put those things in. So really be specific to yourself so they can get a sense of you. Any technical skills, certifications, do you have an RSA, or do you have first aid, or, whatever it might be. Education, you can put in your school, you can put in your subjects. I don't think you really need grades or anything like that. Employment history, volunteering. So this is where if you haven't had a job before, you can put in any work experience, any volunteering, any projects you've worked on that you think, are worth mentioning. Co-curricular hobbies, I think it's nice to put that down just to see that you're doing other things. And this is where your skills and experiences are going to often draw from. So you can certainly list those down. particularly if they're relevant. So if you do like gaming and you're going at EB Games, then obviously that would be relevant. Music, whatever it might be. So particularly if it is relevant, I would definitely be putting it down. Referees, often I'd say referees available on request, but I think for a part-time or casual position, I think we want to just keep it as simple as possible for the person recruiting. And I think you can have maybe a list of 2 referees down. So yeah, just certainly kind of be doing that. And I'm going to go through a resume really quickly now as well. So the referees I was talking about, just make sure it's a non-family member. Could be like a coach or teacher, someone you did work experience or volunteering with. The key thing is making sure that they know that they're on your resume and that they might be called, and perhaps ideally even the types of positions that you're kind of going for, just so they can give you the best kind of reference. This is the summary I'm talking about. So this person is talking about kind of their customer service, and they're looking at obviously hospitality roles, so they've tailored their statement here. They've got some skills and attributes, and they've got some kind of examples of actually how they've developed those skills, and attributes as well. We've got education, which they've just got their subjects, awards, achievements, so musicals and SRC, things like that. Certificates, so they've got RSA, Responsible Service Alcohol, and also food safety. So that's really a good one for hospitality. We've got some work experience, and then we've got a kind of a volunteering kind of role here, and then a little bit more of an idea of co-curricular, an idea that they like cooking, which is relevant to hospitality. So anything that's relevant, and it also just gives them a bit of a talking point, particularly when you do go to interview. It's nice to know, that you're got interest outside and give you something to kind of chat about. Remember, if you're in customer service roles, like conversation is going to be really important. You need to be able to actually speak to people. So here's just a job ad. It does say relevant experience in a similar role, fast-paced environment, attention to detail, guest service, ability to work under pressure and as part of a team, good presentation, have a passion for great food and great fun. So that kind of energy and being able to speak to people is obviously really important in this role. So you do ideally want to give that kind of off in your resume as well. So it might be that you tweak this, that you enjoy, speaking to people and meeting new people. You might definitely put about that through. You've got communication, so it's definitely got in terms of being able to speak to different people, but you might just tweak that to say, you really enjoy that part of the work. Also here, you could actually probably bolster that kind of there as well. But yeah, tweak according to the job role. We don't want to send out 100 resumes to all different jobs. So you may decide that you actually are also interested in retail, and that's fine. So you might kind of have a hospitality resume and a retail resume. So it's just kind of small tweaks probably here in the summary, and maybe even here that you might kind of tweak for those kind of 2 different roles. But if you're just sending the same boring kind of generic one out to everyone, it's not going to help you kind of stand out. So yeah, the more you can kind of make it relevant to the job ad, the better. This is a lifelong lesson, by the way. This is something that will hold you in good stand, for jobs after school, if you've gone to university, whatever. It's the advice stands. It's still the same. Okay, so to create your format, and actually create a resume, there's lots of things you can do. You can jump into Word, you can jump into Pages if you've got a Mac, you can go to Google Docs. I love Canva, so you can go into Canva. They've got a lot of templates there already. Yeah, if you do my work program, I'll give you loads of templates, but for now, what I want you to do just for this challenge is actually just really concentrate on a couple of the key components of your resume. So one is your skills. So what skills do you actually have? And I want you to write where you think you've kind of developed these so that you can give evidence and provide examples of how you've actually cultivated these skills. So it might say teamwork, and it could be basketball or soccer or netball, whatever it might be. You could say problem solving, and it could be a project you did at school, so whatever it might be. Three personal attributes that you really think you have. And remember, you can also ask other people, ask your family, your friends, like, what are some of my top kind of attributes? What makes me stand out? Why would someone hire me? And that gives you a really good sense. And these are really important, because if you really nail these and understand these, when you're in an interview, you'll be able to talk about them much easier as well. Okay, so all the skills. What I want you to do is go to a job ad. So just like the ad I had here. So whether it's on Seek or it's an ad you found elsewhere, what I want you to do is go to the job ad and pull out all of the skills that they're actually looking for, that you believe you have. So you can kind of tick those off. Also attributes. So it might be that you are really honest, you're reliable, that you you're fun and enjoy speaking to people, those kind of things. And then relevant interests and experiences. So that person, they love cooking, they love that kind of, enjoying food and providing that experience for people, not just in their kind of volunteer role, but obviously at home. So things that are interests and experience that are relevant to the role. So just jot those down there. And this will, yeah, as I said, hold in good stead for interviews as well, which we will be looking at next. Just a reminder, send in your action steps to hello@bucareers.academy. And we'll see you for the interview in day 4.